4 most important steps that I always do before an outdoor adventure. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Wanted to do a short video on the 4 steps that I always do whenever I'm creating an outdoor adventure. Step number 1 is to research. Research the trail that you are hiking or the place that you're going. There's a lot of things that you may not realize, like is there a parking fee? Where I'm going, there is a parking fee, so it is US. So I had to see if they only accepted US money or if they accepted Canadian money as well. Another thing that you might not realize is that do you have to have snowshoes? Whenever there's a certain amount of snow where I'm hiking, you have to have snowshoes. Another thing that you could get turned away from at the trailhead is a proper bear barrel. You're not allowed to hang your food, and in Canada the most common bear barrel that you can buy is a blue see-through, and it's sort of like a twist top. That's not allowed where we're going, and it'll actually turn you away from the trailhead if you bring that type of canister. So you need the ones that have where you need a coin to get in, and there's like 3 locks. Those are the ones that are approved for where I'm hiking in the Adirondacks. So it's very important to research the trail. Whether, by the map, you obviously have to have, or you should have a map everywhere you're going. So for this particular trail, it's in this map. Read up on it. Okay, get the proper literature to read up on the trail that you're going, where it gives you some guides and tips and some rules and regulations. Again, it's winter time. We like to start a fire and have a steak, but in the Adirondacks, the high peaks, you're not allowed to have fires at all. So that sort of changes the food that you want to bring. Usually I bring a steak in the winter time because I don't need to keep it cool like I would in the summer. So I like to cook a steak on an open barbecue, or an open flame I should say, but in the Adirondacks you're not allowed to have any fires, so you're sort of stuck to your little stove. Another good thing you can do to research is look for online communities. Facebook is another great tool to research the place that you're going. Again, I'm hiking in the Adirondacks, and there's actually a Facebook group dedicated to the Adirondacks. So I'd post questions on there. The lean-tos in the same spot sometimes are relocated, and you may not have an updated map or a newer map, so it's good to know that. And sometimes people have the actual GPS coordinates that they can give you. Another tool that I like to use to research is a website called Wiki Lock, and you can go online. You can sign up if you like, but it's GPS tracks that people are actually tracking. So I'm going to be bringing my GPS and tracking or logging the trail that I'm doing, and then I upload that on here. So I go online to see if there's actually one that's already there, and there is. It's not the exact loop that I'm doing on the weekend, and so this one here, it looks like it starts from, according to the map, where the John Brook Lodge is, and then it comes up and around over to, I'm not sure what mountain that is, but then back around. I'm actually coming up this way, going through here. So you have, you have Lower Wolf Jaw around here, Upper Wolf Jaw here, and then there's a lean-to. So we're doing this loop, coming back around. So that'll be something I'll be recording. So I wasn't sure if this started at the garden parking lot, is where we're going. So I posted a question on this website. And does this trail start from the garden parking lot? This route was part of a backpacking trip, so it doesn't start from the garden, but you can start from there. It's just so it adds a bit more mileage. So I'm guessing that's John Brook Lodge, because the parking lot would be around here, and then there's a couple-mile hike to a lodge that you can stay at. So research as much as you can. Ask all the questions. We have all this at our fingertips, so it's not hard to Google something to get the answer. Like I said, whether there's a parking fee, do you need to have snowshoes? One of the mountains, Gothics, a lot of the people on Facebook said that you can get away with micro spikes, but it's not really recommended depending on the time of year and how much ice there is, and you don't know till you get there. So you'd hate to get there and not have any micro spikes or crampons to finish your hike. So ask all the appropriate questions. Once all your research is done, then I organize it. And the tool I use for that is a website called MileStepper. It's a great website. I use it to just keep track of all the peaks, all the mountains that I've climbed. So in this case, you create a new plan. I'm not really going to go through how to use this program, but basically you put your time and date. Once you do that, it actually tells you what the weather is going to be. So that's very important whenever you're researching your hike, is what's the weather going to be like. I think this weekend it's supposed to be minus 25 Celsius. That's what the low is. So my sleeping bag is only rated for minus 23, which that's a survival rating. So I'm going to be bringing a few extra clothes and jackets just to stay warm, just in case it does go that low. Your tent always adds 2 to 3 degrees, so you take that into consideration. So this is a good website to use to organize everything. It tells you what the weather's supposed to be like, and you just put everything in one spot. You know, info about this hike, principles of leave no trace. I sort of add that to all my hikes. Meeting place, we're going to be meeting at my place. Just don't know the time yet. And then just a little note on ride sharing, directions how to get there. And then I put in some information that I found about the cost for parking. And we're going to be taking 2 vehicles, a couple friends of mine, so we have to make sure that we have some money for the parking. And apparently they do accept Canadian, but you never know year to year, and the information I got is a few years old. It's from last year, 2017. So I'm going to be bringing both just to be sure, and then some information on the mountains. Now what you do from here, so step number 3 would be to plan it. So once you research all the information, once you organize all the information, then you plan it, and that's just basically sending out to your friends and anybody that you think that would be interested in hiking. And that's what I use this website for too. Once I organize everything on MileStepper, then I can send out invites through this. A lot of people use Facebook invites or Facebook events, which is great. Again, I use MileStepper. And then the last step is actually really important, is creating and filing a trip plan. All that is, in short, is just telling somebody where you're going and what time you're going to be back at. I'm going to be starting to use this template that I created, where I'm going, what exactly I'm doing, who I'm going to be with, and their cell phone numbers. I know where I'm hiking, TELUS doesn't work, but some people have Rogers and Bell, and they work. So it's always good to put people's numbers there. Date that I'm leaving, the time, date that I'm returning, the time, and if I'm not back by. So that's very important, because sometimes you end up being late, or you go for a quick bite to eat. And I mean, obviously it's good to call and let somebody know that you're going to be back later than expected. But if I'm going to be back at, say, 6 o'clock, then I have a separate date when to call help. So if I'm supposed to be back at 6 and it's midnight and I'm not back yet, then something's obviously wrong, especially if you haven't heard from me yet. Sometimes it takes a bit, like if I say I'm supposed to be back at 6 and something took a little bit longer and I don't have cell service because I'm still stuck in the bush, at least I have a couple hour buffer to get somewhere where there's cell service, and just notify whoever I told that I'm going to be a little bit late. Gear that I'm going to be having with me, just so that they can tell the ranger what I have, and then they can decide if I'm prepared for the weather or not. You can also use MileStepper for filing a trip plan, because all the information is there. Just make sure that it's not set to private, and if it is, that you invite the person that you want to know where you want to leave the information with. That way they have access to that if they need to call for help, or if you're not back on time. So that's about it. So those are the 4 steps that I always do, is research, organize, plan, and then file a trip plan. This is really important if you're traveling by yourself. Not so much if you're traveling with a group, you're always safer in numbers. But if you're definitely traveling by yourself, this is a must. This could actually really save your life. But like I said, when you're with a group of people, let's see, everybody gets lost, or everybody falls off the mountain or something, then that's a different story. But at least somebody should know at home where you are and what time you're going to be back at. So that's it. Research, organize, plan, and create. Hopefully you thought that was informative. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe, and thanks to all the new subscribers that have subscribed in the last month. Also, let me know in the comments section below what programs you use. I know a lot of people use Peakbagger is one. There's lots out there. CalTopo for maps, for GPS is another one. Google Earth is another good example to use, where you can sort of get a bird's eye view on the land contours and what to expect when you're in there.